It's time for discussions. Welcome to episode 6 of the Discussions podcast. Today we've got a very exciting one about discipline, and it's full of tricks and techniques that you can use to increase the amount of discipline that you've got throughout your day and throughout your week. So let's get into it. The belief that I hold about discipline is that it's just like a muscle. You can't just immediately say, I'm going to never eat sugar again. I'm just going to walk 10 kilometers every day. It doesn't work like that. You have to build up to it. You have to build up the discipline in each aspect of what you're doing. So if you want to do a lot of fitness in your life, it's not something that you can just jump into, because the first day will be hard and you'll think, I can't sustain this. I can do one hard session, but I can't do 5-6 hard sessions in a row. So if someone wants to have discipline in their fitness, I'll say start with a simple thing that you can do easily, which is go for a walk. Go for a 10 or 15 minute walk every morning when you wake up. And no one's going to have problems with that, because it's not a difficult thing to do. But by doing that and sticking to that, you're building up discipline. Because some mornings you won't want to go for a walk, but you'll have that habit that you've already developed and that discipline strength to think, oh, come on, it's not going to be that hard. I've already done it. I've kind of proven to myself that I'm capable of this. So you'll do that walk even on that day when you don't want to. And then when you increase that to say 30-minute, a 1 hour walk, and you increase that to a bit of jogging, you increase that to some cardio, you increase that to some weightlifting, you build up into it. And I have to explain that because if you just, get inspired to go full into something, you can sometimes fail because you're just not ready for that level of intensity. So understand that you may need to give yourself a couple warm-up sessions or a couple warm-up days to build the discipline muscles that will you'll be able to use to achieve what you want. When it comes to diet, if you try and give up sugar immediately, it's going to be very hard. But you can start a little bit easier and say, I'm going to continue eating whatever I want, but all I'm going to do is track the calories. After I eat a meal, I'm going to write down the number of calories that I've eaten. That doesn't take any extra, effort or cost, in the sense of you're not missing out on what you're currently eating. But that little step of having the discipline to record the calories is the first step that will allow you to then at the end of the day, reflect on what you consumed and decide whether you want to adjust that or not. And this applies to other things as well. When I wanted to save more money, I was thinking, I'm spending so much of my income. What's wrong? How do I fix this? So all I did was decide that I want to be a saver. I want to save up more money than I currently am. What do? I took half a piece of paper, or a piece of paper folded in half, and all I did was write down the amount of money that I spent and the time every single day. So on the way to work, if I bought an energy drink, I'd write down 9 a.m., $3. And by just that simple step of building my spending discipline by tracking it, it led to me cutting out the things I didn't want. When I felt like spending $10 on a meal, I thought, wait a second, $10 on a meal is, I would have to not purchased 3 energy drinks and used the discipline for that to not buy this meal. So I didn't want to cancel out the 3 energy drinks that I've previously skipped. So I decided not to buy the $10 meal. And that all came from building up into it. I couldn't immediately just think, today I'm going to not buy lunch. But by tracking my spending and trying to build up a deterrence from spending money, it allowed me to have the strength to refuse to buy that lunch. And when it comes to discipline, it's hard. It's hard to do the tough goals that we set for ourselves. So this is your reminder to make it easier for yourself. If you want to eat healthier, don't let yourself be at work hungry with no healthy options, or assume that you'll be able to go out and buy a healthy option. Prep your meals, bring a prepared meal or a protein bar or something so that it's easy. You can easily choose the healthy option instead of going out there and being exposed to all of the unhealthy options. If you want to think creatively and think optimistically about launching a business, for example, set reminders for yourself that will put you in a good mood and persuade you to perform well. I just finished the audiobook on Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, the famous author who wrote the book Influence. And he was saying that the power of persuasion is probably even more important than the power of influence. So what happens when leading up to a negotiation or leading up to a conversation is influences us even greater than things that are discussed in that negotiation and in that conversation. That's because it changes our thinking. Our brain does associations, and what's in our environment strongly impacts us. So I take advantage of this in my personal life, and because I'm trying to grow a business, I need to be taking risks. I need to be thinking really optimistically. I need to be reminded of why I started and what my goals are. I've surrounded myself where possible with positive influences. So I drink from a coffee mug that says, "Dreams are worth chasing." And just seeing the word dreams reminds me of that is my goal for the day. Chase my dreams, make it come true. I saw this pillow, so I went and bought this pillow so that every day I'm reminded to chase those dreams. And little things like that may sound silly, but over time they can add up. And it's just like it's important to have positive influences around you, you need to take out the negative influences. If I want to eat healthy, I don't have unhealthy food in my house. I don't have my video game systems connected. I don't have things that I'll want to do them, and it will lead me in a unproductive direction. Coincidentally, when one of my roommates moved out, he took the TV with him. And this left me with a nice couch in the living room, but just a blank white wall with nothing to look at. And I was going to replace the TV, but I looked back at the last year and I said, I watched a lot of The Bachelor. I watched a lot of Married at First Sight. I watched so much TV here that I could have been spending that time doing something else. So I decided not to get a TV. And now whenever I cook a meal and it's time to eat, I've got no entertainment. So what did I do? I open up a podcast and I open up an audiobook and I'll learn. So by preemptively deciding to remove the TV by not replacing it, I've created an influence on me that will lead me to positive activities. So feel free to take these kind of all as metaphors and apply them in your life in different ways that you choose. Another trick that I use to help me do the positive activities that I want to do and have discipline for that is anchoring. When I'm about to lift a weight at the gym, I'll snap my fingers. I don't know if other people can hear me and if it's embarrassing, but I just do a quick one. And that's because over the years, every time I do my favorite exercise, which is bench press, before I bench press heavy, I'll snap my fingers. And I've created an anchor where when my body hears and feels that and decides to do that, it reminds me of where I am, what I'm doing, and what comes next. So I create that anchor, and before I do an exercise I don't want to do, I do it twice. And it gets me in the mood to do that. So you can create anchors for yourself in a similar way. You'd have to go and find out ways to create anchors. My confidence book says, think about times when you felt extremely confident and then tap your thumb to your middle finger. And then I remember Tony Robbins or someone explaining about how you can anchor different emotions to different fingers. And that's a physical cue that you can use to inspire your discipline, because when you want to do the thing that you had trouble doing in the past, use an anchor like a snapping or tapping or something. And that can help get your body going and get you in the mood to do that activity. So thank you for joining me for this podcast, and comment below if you've got any discipline tricks of your own. Please subscribe so we can bring you more content.